Hi there, if you don't know me yet, my name is Daniela. I am a nomad therapist traveling the world with my boyfriend since February 2021. You might be asking yourself, why is she traveling during COVID? Isn't it crazy? Yes, it is. It is not the best, I have to admit, but it's manageable. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you how it is to travel with COVID, and also I'm going to share what are the pros and cons about being a digital nomad like me. I decided to bring you to my little balcony in the Airbnb where we're staying in Sofia. Alright, so I decided that we should start with the cons so we can finish the video on a positive note. The first setback is that if you are traveling the world but you have to comply with a certain schedule or putting a certain amount of hours for your job, it might get a little challenging sometimes to enjoy all of the entertainment that the city offers if you're having to work, like for example a 9 to 5, especially with COVID, because in some places things close at 6 or 7, like restaurants and things like that. However, a lot of restrictions have been easing out, and now things are closing around like 9 or 10 in most cities, so you'll be able to have dinner. But I think that's like slight con, that if you are having to comply with a set schedule, it might get a little tricky to fully enjoy the city. You're gonna have to make peace with loneliness. This one has been a little tricky because yes, I am traveling with my boyfriend who's also my best friend, but even then you begin to miss your friends, your family, and yes, there's FaceTime, but it's not the same. Everyone assumes that you're living the dream, so when they call you, they want to hear like good news, so you know, even if you're sad or you're lonely or whatever, it feels weird to, you know, talk about like negative things in a quick like 10-minute call. So yeah, you begin to feel like a little like I guess distant from people. Also, you might get some FOMO, fear of missing out. That has been happening now that, you know, things are reopening in Miami and all of my friends are going out and I see them being more active, and then I see them doing things that we used to do together, so it just feels a little bit heartbreaking sometimes, but it's okay. I know that we'll see them again and we're gonna have amazing times together. This one is something I think I'm struggling with more than I want to admit, but it can be so easy to fall into self-neglect. Due to the fact that you're not in your home anymore and you don't have like the tools and things around you that you usually have, like simple things like, you know, laundry detergent, like nail clippers, exfoliator, all of this little like self-care type of things that I used to do weekly, and it was so natural and so amazing to do it. Like to me, taking time to have a long bath and then like putting on lotion and exfoliating, it was just so normal. You're not in the comfort of your home, so little things that you used to do that seemed so normal and trivial, now it feels like a chore. So there's that. And I have to also mention here that Nico and I travel every 2 weeks, so we're changing homes every 2 weeks. Every Airbnb is different. We've had amazing ones where they have like coffee pods and like even fruits for us when we arrive. They have everything you can imagine you need at an Airbnb. And then we have other ones that we have literally just one roll of toilet paper and we arrive and we have to go to the supermarket to buy a bunch of stuff that we have to then leave in that apartment, which is very frustrating. But yeah, that's just to give you an idea that the little things like cleaning or taking care of yourself sometimes become neglected in this like back and forth of traveling. You must watch your finances. This is a big one. With the excitement of wanting to get to know a new city and the constant change of currency can definitely affect your finances if you're not careful. Try to keep a weekly check of what your expenses are being, and also try to stick to your budget. For example, in Spain, things were way more expensive than in Bulgaria. So like in Bulgaria, we have been able to like eat out at every single meal, which is not the healthiest, but also the food here is delicious. It is delicious in Spain too, but it's definitely, you know, more expensive because of the currency. So you have to play it out differently in every country and be smart with your finances. Another con is that you have to be disciplined, and if you're not, things may fall out of your hands. And when I say this, it's because when you are traveling, you experience true freedom for the first time. So you might feel like you want to do like a lot of different things and like just go and with the flow of life. And yeah, you might just put things to the side, important things that you need to do, like running errands or working a certain amount of hours, or again, taking care of yourself. So you might neglect certain things, and this can affect your mental and physical health. So it's best to keep a balance between being free and enjoying the traveling experience, but also being disciplined and knowing when to stop and when to like sit yourself down and do the things that you gotta do.
And now that we are on this topic about finances, it's important to mention that things will go wrong. A lot of unexpected things will happen along the way, and you have to have savings for that. As I said earlier, some Airbnbs barely offer any living essentials. There might be unexpected problems and obstacles in the way of traveling. You might lose your wallet. So many things can happen when you're traveling just because your life becomes much more spontaneous and unplanned. And many times that calls for unexpected obstacles and problems that you will have to resolve with money. So for that reason, always have savings.
Running errands can be difficult when you're traveling. Things like I need to repair my camera, or I have to get vaccinated. I have to get a COVID test. I need to get a taxi to go to this place. Like little things like that can be challenging in different countries. We had a very crazy experience in Bulgaria where we were trying to leave the National History Museum. That it's kind of far from the city, and we were trying to get a taxi there. It was impossible, like mission impossible, no kidding. I ended up crying. All the taxi drivers will tell us, no, it's too far, and someone told us that it's not normal for taxi drivers to like pick you up on the streets and take you to a place that's too far for them. We had to download an app to get a taxi to come pick us up. So something that is so simple in Miami, for example, in here was so complicated. Another con is that you might have to say goodbye to your hobbies. I had to leave my tennis rackets behind, and I had to leave all of my plants behind. I used to have 55 plants, so yes, you're gonna have to leave some things behind, and that's a little sad, but it's okay. The language barriers are real, and more so with a mask. So it's already hard to understand different demeanors and body languages and like obviously the language itself, but now with the mask it's even harder, because sometimes I think that people are like maybe like not very expressive with their eyes, but I'm wondering if they're smiling and they're not being rude and I'm perceiving them as rude. So that has been another barrier to communication. We're trying to like do things or talk to people.
Get ready to have some bizarre experiences at the airport. Our worst nightmare lately has been to have to deal with airport airlines. They all have different restrictions, and they almost expect you to know all of them. We have had to pay ridiculous extra money for different reasons, and COVID definitely makes it more difficult because everything is very last minute with the changing of restrictions. We prefer to travel by land these days, and it's better because we deal directly with the authorities, and also the private drivers are knowledgeable of the situation and are super helpful in guiding us throughout the process of crossing the border.
So I think that was a good list for cons, and now let's get into the pros. You are going to be mentally challenged more than you think you will, and about things that you have no idea that can be a struggle. That has been an amazing experience for me because I think that it does encourage personal growth and self-development. You will get to know so much about different cultures, about countries, architecture, history. I feel like I'm going to school again. I'm very curious and I like to explore and to read and watch videos about history, which is a part that I never knew I had in me, and now it's like coming out, and it feels amazing to get to know myself better and to also at the same time to get to know a whole new world. You will learn to prioritize what really matters to you. It's funny because back in Miami I have about 2 closets of clothes. I love clothes. I think that every month I will get a box of clothes because I would do a lot of online shopping. My mom is pretty much the same. I am actually traveling with a big suitcase and then a carry-on, and I have been having to leave clothes behind every city I go to because I have too much stuff with me, and it's not a priority anymore. And my mom sometimes tells me like, oh no, but like keep a certain dress or a certain shirt because you look cute on that one, and for your YouTube videos you should be like, you know, using nice clothes and changing clothes. Or she would encourage me to go shopping. She's like, if you're in a cool city, go like get yourself something nice so you can show it in your videos. And I'm learning that yes, I love clothes, but it's not a priority in my life, and it shouldn't. Clothes is disposable, and also it's a waste of money. I'd rather invest it in crypto. I've learned that too. But also I'm having to pay extra money at every airport because my suitcase is overweight, and that's just silly. So I'm learning to prioritize things that are really important for me. And what's important for me in this situation is to travel without stress, is to be able to go to places light, to feel comfortable in my clothes, and just to have fun. I mentioned earlier that you will experience freedom for the first time, especially if you don't have the pressure of having to comply with a certain amount of hours, or if you don't have to comply with any supervisors or a boss or anything like that. You're going to really truly experience what freedom feels like. Imagine a world where you don't have to report to anyone. You don't have to give any explanations about what you're doing and why. You are able to believe in your own instincts about how to do things, and that just feels so liberating. Besides that, you get to decide what you want to do with your day. You have total freedom about what to do with your life and what direction you want your life to go to. Something similar to this is that you will gain a lot of inspiration and creativity as you like get to know new cities, see new buildings, new art, and new people and new outfits. And yes, it just feels very inspiring, and your creativity just gets a little boost. You will meet crazy, terrible, and fantastic people. So we have met a whole combination of people. We love people, and we're very social. Whenever, you know, we go to places, we always talk to people. We have met people that have been fantastic, lovely, and amazing, and nice to us and helpful. We have met people that have been like very rude to us and uninviting, and then we have met some wild people. So it's been an amazing experience when it comes to socializing. The top pro about traveling is that there's no more commuting. That has been, I think, my favorite thing ever. I hate driving. I'm not a good driver, and traffic in Miami is crazy. So I used to drive for an hour to get to my job. Now that I don't have to drive and that I can use public transportation, or I can use my legs to walk to places, I am living the dream, guys. I love not having to commute or not having to drive to go to places. Another beautiful experience about traveling is that your motivation transcends into something else. You're no longer motivated because you want to impress your supervisor, or because you want to get a promotion, or because you want your parents to be proud of you. Like, I think that your motivation transforms into what you want your life to be, because you create a sense of ownership of the direction of your life, if that makes sense. I don't know how to describe it, but when you're doing this traveling experience and making your own decisions and being explorative and being so yourself, your motivations and your intentions change so much. That's something that's very abstract, but I still want to put it out there because I know that if you're traveling, or if you're going to travel, you're going to appreciate feeling this. I guess a final pro would be financial advantages. The price of living in Europe can be definitely cheaper than in the US. Just to give you an example, in Miami, usually I think that apartment would be around like the 15 to 1800s, depending on the amount of rooms and bathrooms that you have in the apartment. In this traveling tour, we have been spending on average like never more than $1,200 for a month of rent. I think the only thing that has been a setback in expenses is like the COVID test expenses. Every time we travel, we have to like find out where we're gonna go to get the COVID test, and sometimes having to pay a taxi to get that done, and then having to pay for the actual COVID test, which the most expensive one that we've paid has been in Spain. That was 120 euros. Other tests have been on average like from 50 to 70 euros. But yes, that's an expense that we're having to add to all of our travel expenses every time we're moving, which is every 2 weeks. So Yeah, that's not nice. But regardless of that, public transportation, food, and rent can be cheaper than it is in the US, or equal. Even if it's equivalent, I'm happier to be here than, being in Miami not doing much. I hope I didn't bore you too much with all of my pros and cons of being a digital nomad. I hope this video is helpful for you. I'm sure that I'm going to have to do an update in the future, because this is just a recollection of my experience within the last 3 to 4 months. 4 months, yes, 4 months. But if you have any questions about what it's like to be a digital nomad, please let me know. If you have feedback, if you have tips and tricks, also share with me. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like this video if you found it helpful. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon in Bucharest.